Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
番組は多言語放送です。放送予定は suprememastertv.com/schedule。
I've seen people who, just by making this significant diet change, have gotten healthier, and who don't need medication, and who are able to turn this disease around.
Continue watching to find out more.
It is our privilege to have Dr. Ida Bagus Mudita present our program entitled What You Eat Matters, Dr. Caroline Trapp, Vegan on Diabetes, Part 2 of 2. Dr. Mudita has more than 25 years of experience in the field of pediatrics and has been working at a hospital in Denpasar, Bali, Indonesia since 1993. He has helped leukemia patients to adopt a vegan diet, which has been very beneficial in their recovery. In his professional career, Dr. Mudita has received many honors and awards, including an award of dedication from the pediatric department of an Indonesian university hospital in 2011. He is a longtime member of the Indonesian Pediatrician Association and Indonesian Doctor Association.
Salam pemirsa yang terhormat, saya Dr. Ida Bagus Mudita dari Indonesia yang ramah. Bangsa kami mendoakan agar setiap hari bagi Anda menjadi salah satu inspirasi dan keajaiban. Dalam penutup dari acara dua bagian kami ini, kita mendapat kehormatan untuk mendengar kembali dari Dr. Caroline Trapp tentang hubungan antara pola makan dan kondisi kesehatan kronis yang sayangnya mempengaruhi sekitar 425 juta orang di seluruh dunia. Beliau adalah seorang praktisi perawat Amerika vegan dengan gelar doktor dalam praktik keperawatan dengan pengalaman lebih dari 30 tahun dalam merawat penderita diabetes. Saat ini beliau adalah Direktur Pendidikan dan Perawatan Diabetes bagi Komite Tenaga Medis untuk Pengobatan yang Bertanggung Jawab atau PCRM, sebuah nirlaba yang berbasis di Amerika Serikat yang berupaya meningkatkan kesehatan masyarakat. Dr. Neil Barnett, seorang dokter dan presiden pendiri dari organisasi tersebut, adalah penerima penghargaan welas asih cemerlang dunia. Beberapa orang mendapat kesan bahwa begitu seseorang menderita diabetes, dia perlu minum obat atau hidup dengan kondisi tersebut selama sisa hidup mereka. Dr. Trapp menjelaskan mengenai kesalahpahaman umum ini.
That was the party line, that once you had diabetes, you always had it. And I was taught that I was supposed to teach my patients that if you need insulin, it's not your fault, it's just the disease, it's the progression of the disease. Well, I no longer think that that's true, because I've seen people who, just by making this significant diet change, have gotten healthier, and who don't need medication, and who are able to turn this disease around.
Pada tanggal 29 April 2018 di Festival Vegan Veg Michigan yang diadakan di Novi, Michigan, Amerika Serikat, para pembicara terkemuka tentang topik yang berhubungan dengan kesehatan ditampilkan. Salah satu yang ditekankan Dr. Trapp dalam presentasi festival vegan beliau adalah bahwa diet lemak hewan secara khusus mempertinggi kadar gula darah dari mereka yang menderita diabetes tipe 2, suatu kondisi yang ditandai oleh hiperglikemia karena tubuh memiliki masalah menggunakan hormon yang disebut insulin. Insulin memungkinkan glukosa masuk ke dalam sel-sel otot, tapi tetesan kecil lemak di dalam sel-sel tersebut disebut lipid intramioseluler dapat mengganggu insulin memungkinkan gula darah masuk. Dengan menghilangkan produk hewani dari piring seseorang, maka dengan meminimalkan asupan lemak, seorang penderita diabetes bisa mengontrol lebih baik jumlah glukosa dalam sistem mereka. Beliau juga membahas beberapa salah persepsi yang umum oleh para penderita diabetes atau penyedia layanan kesehatan mereka tentang memasukkan gaya hidup vegan sebagai bagian dari perawatan. Berikut ini adalah kutipan singkat pembicaraan beliau.
In terms of diet, these are some of the reasons that I hear people or doctors say that their patients can't do a plant-based diet. So one is concerns about lack of protein. Have you ever visited anybody in the hospital because they weren't getting enough protein? No. Okay, it doesn't happen. If you're getting enough calories, you are probably getting enough protein. Another concern is that it's too hard for most people. And how many of you in this room are currently or have followed a plant-based diet? Oh my goodness. All right, those of you who haven't, look around. It's doable, and I applaud all of you. Another big concern is too many carbohydrates. And this is it's heresy in the world of diabetes to tell people they don't have to worry about carbohydrates. But I want to make the distinction between whole food carbohydrates, what's in fruits and vegetables and potatoes and corn, and whole grains like steel-cut oats or brown rice or millet or barley, and highly processed carbohydrates like fruit juice or instant oatmeal. Those are things that have the fiber removed from them, and those are problematic.
Kami akan jeda sejenak di sini untuk satu pesan konstruktif dan akan segera kembali. Tetaplah bersama kami di sini di Supreme Master Television.
Welcome back to What You Eat Matters. Dr. Caroline Trapp, vegan, on diabetes, part 2 of 2 on Supreme Master Television. Dr. Mudita will now continue presenting our program.
Penekanan di Amerika Serikat terutama mengandalkan obat-obatan untuk mengobati diabetes dan kondisi kesehatan kronis lainnya telah diamati dengan cermat baru-baru ini. Pakar medis sedang mengevaluasi kembali apakah para pasien benar-benar mendapat manfaat dari minum obat-obatan tertentu dan apakah manfaat dari obat-obatan itu benar-benar melebihi efek sampingnya yang serius. Ini telah berkembang ke pendekatan lain oleh beberapa praktisi kesehatan yang disebut mengurangi peresepan.
Deprescribing is a new term. All of the clinical practice guidelines talk about when to start somebody on a pill and when to increase the dosage or advance to another pill or to add an injectable. But until recently, there were no guidelines that talked about when to stop medication. But I want your viewers to know that just last month in March, the American College of Physicians published brand new guidelines where they reviewed 4 international large studies that looked at medication use in type 2 diabetes. And what they found was that these medications lowered blood sugars, but they did not do what they were promised to do. They didn't necessarily prevent strokes or heart attacks. They didn't prevent kidney disease. They didn't prevent blindness. They did make some small improvements. People had less protein in their urine. People on a dilated eye exam maybe had less damage to the blood vessels in the eyes, but not things that were clinically meaningful. And the harms to people taking all these medications in these studies were great. People had severe hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, that would require help from somebody else to get treatment or would sometimes put somebody in the hospital. So the harms from these medications are great, not only the side effects, but also the expense. and the impact on lifestyle. Having to take these medications every day, having to do injections, having to monitor blood sugar in order to make sure the medication is safe. It should be a choice for an individual, and they should be fully informed on the risks and the benefits. And I applaud the American College of Physicians for reviewing the literature, looking at the standard of care, and taking this new stand and saying the physicians on the front lines should be very careful in using medications. And I want to put those two ideas together. We not only want to use less medication, but we want to use more plans. That tight control is important. We want to see people have good numbers, but we don't want to get there with medications.
Kami bertanya kepada Dr. Trapp apa saja saran lain yang beliau miliki untuk seseorang yang menghadapi penyakit diabetes untuk meningkatkan kesehatan mereka. Beliau memberikan beberapa saran yang sangat baik.
There's a lot of things that people can do to take charge of their health besides what they're eating. Exercise is really important, but by itself it often isn't enough. But exercise is great for burning up sugar, for increasing muscle mass, for treating and preventing depression. So I highly recommend a regular exercise regimen. Getting enough sleep is also really important. And sleep should be like a vital sign. When you go in and your blood pressure checked and your height and weight, somebody should be asking you how much sleep you're getting, because that's another thing that's really important. And of course, if you smoke cigarettes, that's the number one recommendation. Quitting smoking will go a long way to protecting the blood vessels that are at risk of damage from diabetes.
Kami berterima kasih kepada Dr. Caroline Trapp yang telah meluangkan waktu untuk berbagi dengan kita pengetahuan klinis beliau yang luar biasa mengenai diabetes. Semoga pesan sangat penting beliau tentang solusi berbasis nabati untuk pencegahan dan perawatan diabetes menjangkau semakin banyak orang dan dengan demikian secara positif mengubah lebih banyak kehidupan. Untuk informasi lebih lanjut tentang Dr. Caroline Trapp, silakan kunjungi bcrm.org/aboutus/staff/Caroline Trapp. Terima kasih pemirsa Elok atas kebersamaan Anda hari ini untuk acara kami. Selanjutnya adalah Kehidupan Sri Mahawira, Sang Pelepas Keduniaan Agung, bagian 2 dari 4 di acara antara guru dan murid tepat setelah berita patut disimak. Semoga Anda selalu berada dalam komunikasi dengan diri batin Anda dengan bimbingan Tuhan.
Thank you, beautiful viewers, for your company today for our program. Up next is the life of Lord Mahavira, the Great Renunciation, Part 2 of 4 on Between Master and Disciples, right after Noteworthy News. May you always be in communication with your inner self with God's guidance.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/HL.